3, 2, 1. Hey folks, welcome to Bouncing Brains. We're here Monday, August 19th, 2019, episode 72. I'm Sean Hatfield.
I'm Freddy G. What the fuck is going on tonight and today and the day before?
What?
Yeah.
Did you see some fire trucks rolling by? What are you talking about, man?
Well, earlier, but that's like every day. But no, there was no fire. I think it was just
Bro, there was like some sort of like hoax shooting or like
Yeah.
weird little alert in the
They
Harlingen.
they threatened Walmart again. This time it was the one in
Yeah. Yeah, you know what they should
Harlingen.
do, man? You know what Canada has? Canada has computer or camera monitoring for some of their streets, and they've encoded their cameras to pick up images of guns.
Yeah.
So anytime an image of a gun is picked up on the
And
street,
you know actually what they're about to start doing here?
what?
The little at least in McAllen, I don't know anywhere else. The little cameras
Yeah.
that are to like catch you speeding or
yeah.
running a red light,
Yeah.
they're gonna take them off.
Oh, why?
They just
They made them illegal here in Texas.
Oh, well, there you go.
That doesn't stop the cities from putting in security cameras.
Yeah, you just can't use cameras like that for street purposes, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, you can't use that as, what's the word I'm looking for here? Enforcement.
I got you.
You can't like send them tickets through that shit.
Yeah. But that's crazy, bro. Like, these cameras could pick up images of fucking guns and let you know, hey, there's a gun thing going on over here.
Yeah, but we've been talking about it for a while, and by we, I mean we
Yeah.
here, like we said 4 or 5 episodes ago. Honestly, bro, if they can do it in movies, I don't understand like why they can't do shit like
Well, there's a lot of stuff they could do in movies that really they can't do here.
no
Yeah.
but
I ain't never seen an elephant fly.
no. What I'm saying is like that shit that you're saying. Like
Yeah.
Canada has this shit where they can take detect
Yeah.
guns or whatever. We've been seeing that shit in movies for a couple years now.
Well, that tech's been around for at least 15, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing since like that movie Enemy of the State came out.
Everybody's remember when that shit that 3D printing shit
Yeah.
came out, and I remember how everybody lost their shit with supposedly the first guy that 3D printed a gun.
Yeah.
Bro, that's been done. That was done like fucking 5-10 years ago. You know what I mean? Not like this
Yeah.
with the machine and the process they have now, but I know that it's been done like
But that fast. Like the fast.
Well, yeah, but it's
I
like-
think that's what was most shocking.
But well, the fucked up part is the media never talked about the fact that like the receiver and all the shit. My lingo just went out the window. But all the internal mechanisms that have to take the pressure of, because I mean the barrel's one thing. You can print a barrel.
Oh yeah, by
that'll
the way,
survive a few shots.
the reason that shit didn't last very long is because the heat in the barrel gets too hot.
Isn't it like plastic?
So you won't withstand the heat. And then if you do fire off one shot, technically it'll blow your hand off because something about like the bullet not having enough, the coil does not produce enough power for the bullet to like go out and explode or whatever.
I get you.
You know what I mean?
Well,
So
the other problem is
that was the other thing.
the 3D printed stuff has faults in it. Like you have to like, you'd basically have like a batch of like 15 of these motherfuckers, and then you'd have to go through and find the one that doesn't have a structural fault in it. And even then, that one's going to fail after a couple shots.
Yeah,
It
It's
just makes no sense to 3D printing.
bro.
well, you remember that movie back in the day? I think it was Clint Eastwood where he plays this Secret Service officer. And
Yeah. That was
dude makes the little 2-shotter out of
Yeah.
wood.
yeah.
Yeah, man. Look,
Badass movie too.
fucking Saturday night specials have been around forever.
Even like they're even like printing organs off of this shit. You know?
Yeah.
So what makes you think that a gun that's printed off of a 3D printed machine is gonna give you faults due to like how secure do you feel about 3D organs?
Well, you realize with the 3D organs, what they're doing is printing a structure and then that has to be like what's the word, colonized by your own tissue. It's not like they're just printing the organ. They print a scaffolding for it, and then
I found out about this through like Grey's Anatomy.
no, it's some new shit, man.
So they weren't like really descriptive on like how this shit worked.
Really, bro? Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, dude. Hey, bro, every episode they fuck. Someone fucks, bro.
Whatever happened to ER when they only fucked on special episodes?
I guess fuck all those people at Harvard, right? Just watch Grey's Anatomy. And
Hey, actually, they get a lot of these cases from Harvard, bro. Harvard case studies, and that's
fuck
why a lot of these cases they do this with a lot of medical shows. Even like House has a lot of episodes similar to Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah,
because they're from the same.
I was about to ask you, and I don't want to go on a fucking rant about this or whatever, but I was about to ask y'all last time about I've been looking for another show to get into because all I got is Netflix, and that's like my only Netflix and music is my only source of entertainment at the moment because that's all I got. And like I don't ran through the shows that I was watching, and then the ones that I didn't finish watching are only available on cable, so you can't watch that shit anymore.
Yeah.
So I was looking for another show to get into, but because there's a couple of things that I wanted to touch on, and I know we only have 2 hours, and I did want to spend a couple of minutes on each one. So I don't know what y'all want to get into first. Did y'all want to finish the Apple conversation? But for the listeners and watchers, we cut this right in the middle and shit. We were discussing about Apple and their do's and don'ts and their breaks and not breaks and their flaws and their goods.
Well, let me make an attempt here to connect the two right here.
The two first of all?
Let's say the state monitoring the ability of technology to perform fantastical tasks that most people aren't going to fucking realize, and then Apple and their bullshit. Great technology, but they fuck around with a lot of bullshit.
Hey, they didn't open up that phone for the government in that one case.
Yes, and there are a couple engineers laughing in Israeli. The fuck, man. Like, seriously, the FBI was like, we can't do our job, and these Israelis were just you give us 3 weeks.
That's the other.
It's because, like, everybody uses, like, fucking pineapple Wi-Fi's, dude. That's how they get you, dude.
What is that?
Like,
you didn't finish saying.
We
were talking about pineapple.
It looks like a Wi-Fi modem. Like, it's like you could spend up to almost like.
So it's a thing?
It's a thing. Like, yeah, you could set it up like a Wi-Fi spot.
It's a thing.
It's a box.
Okay.
That looks like a Wi-Fi modem. It has these little antennas coming out of it, and it looks like a Wi-Fi receiver, thrower, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And people set them up, and all they need is the name of your Wi-Fi. Like, let's say your Wi-Fi's name is like Freddy G, right? Mm-hmm. All they need to put on their thing is like Freddy G. And hide your Wi-Fi, like hide the ability that your Wi-Fi gets picked up. So
now we're right back to law enforcement because they've been doing that for a while now at public protests and shit like that.
Yeah, man, this is not new stuff, but this is how easy this shit could be, dude. Like they just go in there and then you go on to sign onto your Wi-Fi. You have to sign into this Wi-Fi. You enter your password. They see you enter your password.
Yeah.
So they know the password.
But they've been doing that.
Huh? But this is how easy it is, dude. This thing costs like $50. Anybody can come over.
But like they've been doing that.
I know, no. But anybody, like if they've been doing that, how come they haven't been doing it to like innocent people like me and you?
They have.
The fuck is the point of
dealing
doing
with
it?
Fucking identity theft, bitch.
Yeah, but how many times has your identity theft is not a massive thing that is affecting like.
What the fuck do you mean? 1 in 3 people deal with identity theft.
Not everybody's not dealing with it. How come everybody's not dealing with it?
1 in 3 people.
Now, when you say identity theft, what specifically are you talking about? Because covers a wide variety of actions.
All I know is that they took my shit and somebody's working in Arkansas.
Oh, okay, man. You're talking base level.
Basically,
that happens to a shitload of people.
No, man. When these people hack you like this, they're not looking for your papers, bro. They're gonna drain your finances. They're gonna like corrupt your credit. They're going to do everything possible to take from you. And if they can't, they're going to like hold your information hostage.
The only way that would be the only way that's going to be viable on like say here, man. If somebody like pulled up, parked a car, and had one of those repeaters that was basically trying to pull everybody's info.
The FBI does that, by the way, too.
Well, there's a lot of companies that do that. There's even companies that are like security companies that'll do this to you to show you, hey man, this is where you're vulnerable at. Mm-hmm. This is where you need to come in and like
LifeLock,
like stuff like that. Yeah. Like listen.
By the way, this is not really a plug, but I just wanna put this out there. Shout out to LifeLock. I thought it was just bullshit and it was some other company trying to take your money and shit. But they actually do mean what they say in that fucking commercial. If you ever have problems when somebody took your shit or you've been hacked or whatever.
Well, send a big bad guy out there to beat them up.
I don't know about that shit, but they will fucking. They will retrieve your information. They'll find out who took it and whatnot, and they'll help you take the necessary steps legally to like take care of your shit. And they also, if it gets to that extent and they need to, they will help you hire a lawyer, and they will help you with up to 40% of the cost. So, yeah. Now, y'all probably saying, why didn't you fucking continue with it? Is, cause I couldn't continue paying the monthly fee. But.
Yeah, that wouldn't have helped you with your social security number, man.
Yeah.
That's beyond their fucking pale.
You just get a new social security number, though. I've had my shit taken like that.
The real problem is trying to convince the IRS that you're not on the hook for any payments.
All you got to do, like, if you have nothing to hide, open up your books to the IRS and like have them do like, I don't know, if they don't call it an audit, it's something else. It's pretty much like an audit, just to make sure you are who you are, and they'll see everything that you're liable for. They'll see that where you've worked. And like your places of employment, they'll match up one and they'll separate that and give you a new.
Okay, I got you. Kind of like if you had a cop pull you over and just go through your car to make sure that you're doing everything completely legal.
It'll pop up next time that next time that they try to use it for another employer, that this is not a real like social security number.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. So if that guy's
how do you do this?
You just have to go to talk to the IRS. Talk to the Social Security first, talk to the IRS, and then after that, well, first of all, you have to make a police report.
I got 6.
Okay, you already made the 6 police reports. Yeah. After that, you have to talk to the Social Security office, tell them what happened, so they can issue you a new Social Security number.
They never did.
They never did? They didn't even give you your old Social Security number card?
No, I have. They gave me a Social Security, but how can
they never adjust your case?
That's what I'm saying. And you want to hear something more fucked up?
What's up?
They know who the guy is. Yeah. They know where he lives, and they know where he works.
What did you not like pursue it or?
No, I told them. I was like, bro, like I told the IRS.
So whenever you do your taxes, are you maybe thinking that all this shit that you owe is maybe him?
No. I can't lie and say that.
Well, that's at least fortunate, man, because I've talked to a couple people who got into that situation where the person using their number had failed.
The only thing that's really fucking me over, and that I'm thinking like future wise, it's really gonna fuck me over. For example, if I ever try to buy another house, or like file for like Leo's been telling me to get a business loan.
Yeah.
That's really gonna fuck. That's why I'm trying to like stop this shit or figure it out. Because
if I were you, I would just talk again to the Social Security office, tell them that you need a new number issued because of what's going on, or have like them stop that number from being used up there, or wherever this guy's at.
Yeah. And then talk to the IRS. That's the other thing. So
talk to the IRS too. I know like you might owe them some money or whatever, but tell them like, hey, what's been going on. So they could at least open up a case and see, hey, what are we charging this guy that we shouldn't be charging? What is actually his and what is...
No, they do that. They do that at the end of every year because me and that guy together make $95,000 a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
does he make the 60% of that?
Yeah, definitely. So like that's the thing though. Like they know where he works, they know where he lives, they know his name.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, like why can't what he's doing is illegal? Like why won't y'all like fucking send the FBI or whoever the fuck it is you need to send. And then they've asked me numerous times for police reports. I've taken the police reports, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But they don't do anything. So then I've told them on like 3 separate occasions, I'm like, well, can you give me the information? And they're like, no, we can't do that. And I get why they can't do it because, cause then they feel this dude's gonna take matters into his own hands.
Yeah.
And that's worse.
If you hire a private investigator, they could find this out for you.
And technically
Can
speaking,
they
it's your
legally-
records.
Yeah, they are your. Yeah, he just needs access to your records. He doesn't even really need to dig up stuff. He just needs to find, like, where it all in the police report his information's at, and disclose that with you. Maybe they want to give it to you, but they could give it to a complete stranger asking about your
I'm gonna look into that, man. Yeah,
And I would say just talk to the IRS. As long as you have nothing to hide, do it, dude.
I have nothing, bro.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. But anyway, I was going somewhere with this. Fuck. We're talking about Apple.
Yeah, no, but people with no hacking knowledge, no computer knowledge, if they could just follow like simple instructions on YouTube, they could set up one of these and steal all your information, dude.
The question is, man, what information are they going to... Because you say all your information. Think about this. How many times...
Bank accounts, credit cards.
Motherfucker, they can't do that with your fucking Wi-Fi password. You have to have...
No, but after that, it's basically...
Have you ever made an online purchase?
Yeah, on a secured Wi-Fi that I was already connected to.
After that...
No.
Like, it's... Look, they can't fake your Wi-Fi if you're already connected to it.
No,
they're banking on you trying to log into your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, once you log in, they have access to your Wi-Fi. So if they want to look at your search history through your Wi-Fi, they could look at that.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to look at what you're looking at live time and real time,
right,
they could look at that. And anything that you open up.
But this all requires you. This requires you having a vulnerability in your.
Yeah.
I mean,
your Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your Wi-Fi.
I will agree with him on this. It is fairly easy.
Yeah.
To like get into your Wi-Fi, even when you have a secure connection.
Some people don't even change the default password that they set up for all like their Wi-Fi modems, you know?
Right.
So you could go in there and fuck up their shit, dude.
And really fuck up their shit.
Yeah.
On that matter.
I mean, dude, I'll be honest, that's one of the advantages to living out in the fucking middle of nowhere is anytime a new Wi-Fi signal pops up, I'm immediately paranoid.
I feel you, dude. I would be too, man.
Y'all have Wi-Fi out there?
No, we bang sticks together in a rhythmic, like Morse code type of thing and just hope that the sound carries.
Nah, but I was being serious, asshole. Like, isn't there...
Oh, so was I. I've tried to learn Morse code, but what... yeah, no, man, we got Wi-Fi out there, man. We got AT&T out that way. We don't have any of the fancy shit. We don't, there's no fucking high-speed bullshit. Like, you can get, satellite, which we had for years, but that's fucking useless.
Fuck that shit, dude.
Yeah.
They keep saying it's getting better, but
dude,
go fuck yourself.
My parents still have satellite internet.
Used to or still have?
They still have it.
Back in 1995, waiting for that titty to fucking load up.
Yeah, dude. It's basically
back when before DirecTV bought Hughes. I remember that shit.
Did they buy Hughes now? I thought they bought AT&T. Or
No.
AT&T bought
Well, that's
DirecTV.
later. Yeah, first they bought Hughes. DirecTV bought Hughes, and then they bought and then AT&T bought DirecTV.
You're lucky I don't have my laptop, bro. I'll fact check this shit right now.
Yeah. No, do it. You
got your fancy phone.
Oh, dude, it's hard typing on the phone, dude.
Yeah. I bet you didn't know this other shit that DirecTV was the first satellite service to direct entertainment channels the way they do it, right? So then along came Dish Network and they did the same thing. But Dish Network uses in part the same technology that DirecTV uses, so they actually also have to cut them a piece of what they make. I mean, Dish still makes their money,
right?
But they have to, because they use the same technology that supposedly DirecTV came up with. They have to cut them a check.
Hey man, that's how proper capitalism works.
Yup.
Now we just got to break up Ma Bell again because AT&T keeps swallowing up these little companies.
Fuck yeah, man. AT&T's
That's what it's
buying
about,
every
bro.
fucking
Yeah,
thing,
dude.
dude. I don't understand how that's not a monopoly. I really don't. I'm waiting for those fucking prices to spike up, dude. That's what I fear the most, dude. I have a feeling I'm gonna end up paying for regular ass internet like fucking $150 a month.
So that's the part that fucking confuses the shit out of me. It's not like we lost the ability to do this like
They got bought out by EcoStar. EchoStar.
Who?
HughesNet. For $2 billion.
And then they were bought out by DirecTV.
HughesNet.
I'm telling you.
I think they bought out DirecTV. And then I think they might have been the ones that sold it to AT&T. Because it says here that they acquired DirecTV. And then it says nothing else about their DirecTV purchase.
Oh, okay. Then AT&T bought DirecTV.
Yeah. I think HughesNet's still on
Because
the-
for a while, DirecTV was on the brinks of bankruptcy. Back in the early 2000s.
Because of their fucking shit packaging, bro.
Yeah, dude. 200.
You know what I like though? Every time that I've had to cancel DirecTV, I haven't had to pay that cancellation fee. Because I keep threatening like
lawsuits.
No, dude, I keep threatening that not only that, dude, that it's not what they told me. Like I start
that doesn't
I start
work.
just like bitching. No, dude, they like completely like, hey, you know what, sir? It's okay. We'll cancel for free. You don't have to worry.
Well, I don't know who did that for you. 'Cause
Just call them, bro. Just call them, dude.
I used to work for them, bro, and I used to get.
If you want your
threatened
bill
all the
lowered
time.
too, bro, I've
Oh, I know how to.
I've gotten it lowered several times by telling them, hey, I'm gonna walk out, dude. Fuck this. I'd rather pay the cancellation fee.
Yeah,
No,
I used to
no.
do that all the time.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, but
I
let's be
see
honest,
this.
man. One of the reasons cable TV or satellite and all that sucks as much as it does is because of the channel providers.
By the way,
I
I
mean, don't
like
get me wrong.
DirecTV.
What?
I wouldn't get another provider. I just don't have DirecTV anymore because I couldn't afford it. But my favorite is DirecTV. I used to work for them, bro, and I used to tell them because they would always threaten me with like I'm going to Dish or I'm going to Spectrum, and I was like, that's fine, sir, and maybe you will pay a little less, but you have to understand that if you want quality, you have to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you buy Nike or Adidas,
Yeah.
or you can get a piece of shit New Balance.
Right.
Okay.
American made, bro. You're getting your hey, since Nike bought out Converse, how has the quality of Converse gone down, Sean?
You want to bring this up again?
I just want to point this out that you're paying for that swoosh, that fancy check. There's no quality behind that check. And I'm a big fan of Nike, and I like Nikes, dude. But no,
See, now the real trick is we got to get the Chinese on board with this sneakerhead thing.
they
way,
are, dude. They're
Dude, after this tariffs, I don't think. Yeah,
No,
shit, they're gonna flop that swish around and call them fucking Ikis and
yeah,
fucking
dude.
just.
They make bootleg Nikes over there.
Yeah.
Badass ones too.
I'm trying to remember what it was I was
bootleg
reading.
shit.
They were talking about some purse. It wasn't Gucci, but it was fucking whatever the fuck it was. And they were like, the bootlegs actually had better stitching because they were having to use different materials.
Yeah.
Dude, have y'all ever? And I'm not gonna go into like detail about this because, like I said, there's other shit that I want to touch on. But have you ever watched that show Underground Inc. on Netflix?
No, got it.
Whenever y'all get a chance, watch that show, but just watch the episode of I forgot what it's called, but it's about, you can see it in the preview. It's about bootleg people that make like millions, not thousands, millions of dollars, and these are individual people that make millions of dollars off of bootlegs. Everything from shoes, pants, clothing, jewelry, like fucking Rolexes and rings and shit like that. And like the sophistication that the people like do, like that. I mean, they talk about cocaine, weed, and a bunch of other drugs too, right? I was gonna say slavery, prostitution,
Some parts of Florida.
prostitution and shit like that. But that episode was like, I didn't know that world was like the world of the bootleg and shit. was like that big. Like it's really it's huge, bro. And people make millions of dollars a year just on Gucci fake bags and shit.
Yeah.
These people fucking sell to department stores, bro.
Bro, yeah, man. Sometimes they sell wholesale.
Look, I don't give a shit if this episode like gets taken down, but I'm gonna say something.
Fuck YouTube. No, I'm sorry.
There was this episode where the guy was like, yeah, you know, I sell to like department stores, so your favorite store at the mall, I probably sold them some shit or whatever. He said that, right? Mm. So, of course, in Netflix, there's some shit that they can't show, so they like blur it out. But I will say, man, one of the places that he delivered to, the logo looked a lot like Macy's. Just saying. Even though it was blurred out, you could tell that bitch was Macy's.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, that's all. What is it? Liability is in terms of like is it libel? Where basically you're accusing somebody of having committed a criminal act, or you're accusing them of something. I can't remember how the laws work exactly, but the point being is like, one, you don't know if it was the individual.
Like larceny or slander or something like that.
Slander and libel are a little bit different, and I'm not entirely sure on how that works. I know it's loose enough here in the U.S. that you have to prove that somebody has cost you money, livelihood.
Defamation of character.
There you go. Well, even defamation is a little bit harder to prove. Damn it, Leo. The one time we actually need legal definitions, you don't have the console. But yeah, that's probably why it wasn't so much like, ooh, we don't piss off Macy's. It's like, oh no, Macy's could probably sue the shit out of them.
Well, no, no, and I get it. And that's the reason as to why they did it. But I'm just saying, even though they blurred out the logo outside the store,
looked a lot like Macy's.
He looked a lot like fucking Macy's is all the fuck I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like Mario's fucking joke. Like I can't, for legal purposes, I can't tell you the name of the hotel, but I can tell you Super 8 fucking reasons the way it sucks.
Are y'all familiar with
what was that?
Huh? I was scrolling through something on my phone.
Oh, okay. No, I was just making sure.
Like, damn it, Leo! I told you not to jack off back there.
Sorry, it's not porn.
Y'all know who Trevor Moore is?
Yeah.
Okay, he's
got kids, you know.
Yeah. He's got a new show on Comedy Central, and they were doing this whole thing where they had naked people playing Risk, but they couldn't say Risk. So, like, they just, 5 minutes of them, they brought in Pete Holmes, and he's all like, you can't stop me from saying the word risk, and they're just bleeping it out as it's going. But, the ridiculousness of some of that shit.
But it's like when you watch TV or whatever, and they bleep out the bad word, and it's like, you, and I was like, bitch, I know you said fuck, what's the fucking point? If you're gonna do that, you need to bleep out the whole thing. Because if you bleep out fuck you completely, then you kind of sort of still, you can leave it to be like,
there was a small bit in the late 90s when they started loosening up the FCC rules where they would bleep it and they would blur the mouth. And then at some point they stopped blurring the mouth, and they were
like Japanese porn? What the fuck? They really did that shit?
Yeah,
go back and watch. Yes, was Married with Children.
Married with Children did that shit?
They had a shitload of bleeps, man.
What?
Yeah,
I like Married with Children, bro.
And then, when people said fuck, they literally, you didn't hear any of it. You didn't hear nothing. It was just like, and it was like, okay, he said something he wasn't supposed to. That's all you knew.
Man, some of those afternoons watching Jerry Springer, he'd just be like, you.
Yeah.
Dude, Jerry Springer was a wild fucking show, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like wrestling.
I'm not gonna lie. It took me a little while to figure out that everything was staged.
Are you for real?
Yeah, I was like, because I was a kid, bro. I'm lying. I wasn't that much of a kid. But I was like an adolescent.
You got to remember, these people aren't professionals, though. That's why some of that shit got way out of hand.
You know what's crazier? You know what's crazier?
Like one episode turned into oh, you're sleeping with my daughter. I have a problem with it. Oh, but secretly I'm sleeping with you.
Yeah.
And it's fucking...
you can't be sleeping with my daughter. I'm sleeping with my daughter.
I'm sleeping with my daughter.
The craziest part the craziest part that it took me a while to figure out that Jerry Springer was staged, but for a long time I thought that Cops was fake. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, and then it's like, oh no, Cops is not really fake. This shit's really going down.
But think about it. With Cops, you're taking people that like you have to like even while they're arresting them, they have to tell them like, hey man, you're on camera, yada yada, all that bullshit. And you can watch a few of those episodes where people kind of go, oh shit, that's a camera. And they just like start like trying to act dignified and shit. Like, I'm a good upstanding citizen. Whereas the opposite happens with Springer, where they bring these people in. They're like, hey, act like you're crazy. And they're like, okay then. And just, boom, off the rails and shit. I always love that fucking Pablo Francisco joke. Like, here's a knife. Do something with the knife.
Yeah, man, but fucking, So something, a new hobby that I picked up thanks to Leo and partially Sean.
You switched to your left hand?
No,
It's more
I've
romantic.
been using my
Right?
left hand.
Yeah.
I've been using my left hand because I'm a lefty, right? But
You're a lefty too?
yeah, bro.
Are you for real, bro?
Fuck yeah. And guess what,
Hey,
dude?
we're gonna have a meeting.
Guess what,
Let's
dude?
develop a secret handshake. after this,
Guess
dude.
what?
What?
My daughter's a lefty.
Are you for real, dude?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to make t-shirts.
Shit,
or
they're
something.
spreading.
Have to make
Yeah,
t-shirts or
dude.
something, bro.
Anyway, so I started reading a lot, but I mean like books. But okay, let me rephrase that because that's not right. I got into the audio, like the audio book.
The audiobook.
Yeah, because I can't. I'm sorry, dude. I tried. I can't sit down and like read. I can't. So, but with the audiobook, instead of like jamming out to music at the gym or whatever, like I'll listen to the audiobook, and I've noticed the first thing I noticed was that it distracts my mind away from the pain more. It's like I'm still going through the same pain, but I don't think about it, so I don't really feel it. I know that sounds crazy. Anyway, the reason I say that is because I've been reading this book. I think you said, Leo, that you already read it. The David Goggins.
Yeah.
Have you read You Can't Hurt Me?
That's the one.
That's the one you read.
That's the one
So
I
you
read.
haven't read the first one, right?
No.
Okay. So I'm reading that one, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like 3/4 of it already, and I've only been reading it for a day and a half. Dude. But a couple of things that I wanted to point out about that book. If you haven't read it, go out and read it. I mean,
It's a good book.
I'm not a book person, so take it from me. But that book will impact you in like a very positive way. Well, I mean, David Goggins is a very positive person. For people that don't know, I'm not going to sit here and give you the whole biography, but he was basically a complete failure and a complete fuck up. Those are his exact words. And he basically turned Navy SEAL. Oh, I will also add, he had a very low learning IQ. So, but he turned Navy SEAL or whatever. Anyway, so something I don't know if you remember the book, Leo, but something that I've learned, dude, that stuck with me, and I actually applied it at the gym.
Yeah.
Was he says that he figured out that when you feel pain, any kind of pain, like emotionally or physically or whatever, but he was focusing on the physical pain.
Yeah.
So he's like, when you feel pain and your body tells you you can't do it, and like this is it, like this is the last one, basically, because you're in so much pain. That's not true. Your body can push to up to 30 and 40% more, but the reason that you stop is because you let your brain overpower your body. He basically said,
No, it's the other way around. Because he's talking about how your mind can overpower all this physical pain. So it's like your body
Oh,
versus
okay.
like your
So
mind.
I just got the
Yeah.
parts of the body wrong. My bad.
Yeah, but basically it's like that. Like your mind is capable of defying like the stuff that's going through your body to keep yourself calm. Like at one point he mentions like how he like was able to do this Ultraman marathon or whatever,
Yeah.
and because he was able to keep his mind calm.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
since he wasn't like escalating his mind and going into freak out mode every time that something was happening, like he was bleeding from his feet or he was pissing blood.
Yeah.
Like he was just like,
Minor things.
yeah.
No, but even at that,
No, by the time you're pissing blood, there's a fucking problem.
Yeah, there's a
Stop.
fucking big
Just
problem.
fucking stop.
Yeah, but if you're David Goggins, go hard, bro. Stay hard.
Oh, no. Goggins
Stay-
is a crazy beast. I'm
Yeah.
glad he's out there.
but like what I was saying is, so like I read that, right?
Yeah.
And he was, and the way, like the audiobook is just something else, bro.
Does he read the audiobook? Is he the one reading it?
He read the introductions,
Okay.
and then he had somebody else reading the chapters.
Yeah.
But there's a podcast going on in between the chapters. So like a chapter finishes, and then they explain in a podcast format, like the chapter.
Are you watching? Are you listening to this through Audible?
Audible, yeah.
Like audible.com? Audible?
Audible, the app or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's cool, man. Like I'm
Yeah.
really into it. So anyway, right? So he was saying that like your mind can overpower the pain that your body feels and so on and so forth. And I really got into the book. So I'm the type of person that I call bullshit on a lot of shit, like that kind of shit, right?
All right.
So
Big Bang doesn't exist. Monkeys weren't our ancestors.
yeah.
I get you.
Yeah, like shit like that, right? So then what I did, I was like, hey, fucker, like you're already at the gym. Why not put it to the test, right? And I was like, fuck, I might kill myself. I was like, you know what, fuck it. So normally, for the people that don't know, is like, I've gotten conditioned to running 5 miles. I run 5 miles every day. And I'm not saying it's easy, but I can do it. So it was nothing different. Today, actually, when I was listening to the book, I was at 4.5 miles, so I needed a half a mile to finish my 5 or whatever. And I'm there and I'm running, and as soon as like I was listening to that part of the book when he was talking about your mind overpowers your body, so on and so forth, and you can keep going, like you can push your body to like great lengths and limits, and you'll be fine, right? Like you were saying, as long as you're not pissing out blood. So I'm there and I'm at 4.5 miles, and then I was like, no, I'm just gonna go to 5 or whatever. But I'm listening to the book, my mind's being distracted, and as I'm listening to it, I'm really paying attention to them. So I pick up the intensity on the elliptical, and I start going faster and faster and faster and faster. I got up to, I think it was 9 miles an hour, and like I kept it like that, and then I dropped it to 7 miles an hour. And I kept a steady pace at 7.1 miles an hour or something like that. And then I hit 5.1. And I was like, there's only 0.9 miles left to get to 6, right? So I just, fuck it, I'll just keep going. And given, like, my quads, if you've never been on the elliptical, your quads and your butt is the first thing that hurts. And then your calves. So my quads were already burning. But I kept paying attention to what he was saying or whatever. So I kept going and going and going. And I actually got to, like, I'm not going to lie, I got to 6 miles with no problem. And I didn't even feel it.
I don't know if it was Goggins or someone else, but they were talking about the whole mental wall and shit. And they were talking.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's exactly what I wanted to say.
But the specific
it's
example.
the mental wall.
Yeah.
But they said that you can get through that mental wall as long as you want to push it.
Well,
because
not just that, but your brain also is designed to like be goal oriented. What the specific quote I was talking about was the guy was talking about doing like, say, just for example, like a 13-mile run, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, he'd get up to like, say, mile 10, and all of a sudden his muscles get tired. He's like, fuck, I'm almost there, blah, blah, blah. And he's having to push himself those last 3 miles. And like his first instinct was to go, okay, let me cut it back to 10 You know what I mean? And then I'll work it back up. And then on second thought, he was like, fuck it, I'll push it to 15. So he pushes it up to 15. Well, now all of a sudden he's hitting 13 miles fine. But at that point, it's like, well, now I got 2 more miles to go and the same thing. So his whole concept, and I don't remember if this was Goggins or someone else. Might have been Ferriss, actually. Tim Ferriss.
Tim Ferriss.
But pushing it to that point, it's like, okay, if you know where your fatigue point is, like, that's not your end point. Like you were saying, you still got that 30% over. So, like, push it farther than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing that people don't know is that is exactly the way that you actually build endurance. You build endurance by going further than you did the day before. If you actually run 5 miles every day, but that's all you run, it's 5 miles daily, your brain gets accustomed to those 5 miles because your brain already knows. It's like, okay, I'm feeling tired and it hurts, but this dude, like, the legs are going to stop at 5. So I'm going to reach 5 and then we're good. But if you trick your brain basically in a way and your body into like, hey, we're going 5 miles, and then you hit those 5 miles and then you keep going, it's like you're shocking your brain and your body. It's like, oh, what the fuck? Like, why aren't we not stopping? Why are we still going? But that's what he was saying. Like, you still got that 30% to where you can push yourself. And like, technically, I mean, this is not including if you have previous conditions in your heart or whatever. Like, if you're an average healthy human being, like, you can go that 30% and you're more than likely not going to cause any problems. And plus, it's healthy for you.
Yeah, the quick PSA would be use proper form, use proper equipment.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to say it might have been younger, but might not be the case. But there was an author who basically had Goggins come and stay with him for like 2 weeks, and every morning, like, the whole point was.
He talked about he talked about that in the book.
And he was doing crazy shit to this motherfucker. Man.
He and now I don't know if you know, but now Goggins stays with them. Like right now, he stays with them at his house, and he's his personal trainer.
Well, that's what they were talking about in the interview. This was the author talking about Goggins being there, but he was like, yeah, man, like, basically he was pushing him to failure every fucking day.
Yeah.
And at the end of the time that he was staying there, at least the initial time, he was like, oh man, I was so glad to see David go. But then he starts like calculating up all the shit they've done. He's like, holy fuck, dude. Like, just above, like, magnitudes beyond what he was assuming they were going to be doing.
And then, like, he keeps saying in the book, like, always keep in mind that you're never going to do enough to die. You know what I mean? Like, he says that. He legit, but think about it, bro. Like,
Jim Fix would like a word.
It hit me. Like, that, what he said, you're never, like, this is what he meant. Like, the average person, like you and me, we're never gonna do enough to, like, die on the treadmill. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, fair enough.
And I strongly believe that. I don't think I would ever, like, I don't think that's the other thing that I was that I remember. You remember how you said, I don't know how we started the conversation, but your question was, well, about my heart dropping to 54 beats or whatever.
You were concerned that it was too low.
So then you asked me, how high do you go on your heart rate when you're running? And I said 140. Okay. So, and then you were like, well, maybe you need to, work a little harder and like pick it up and so on and so forth. Right. So I noticed that as I'm listening to this motherfucker, like, cause dude, cause I literally had him in my ear, literally having this dude being that motivational in your ear for an hour, like, I noticed the difference. So I started going harder and harder and harder, and I actually got my heart rate up to 185. When I hit 187 is when I chose to stop. Because I was like, I don't know how safe it is to go 190 or 187.
I can't remember exactly, but I think it's
I
something over
remember
about like 210 where you're in danger zone.
Well, I mean, I remember that little fucking bullshit formula that they gave you, where like it's your age minus 200 or whatever, and that's
okay. I don't know exactly what formula you're talking about, but a lot of those were based on the idea. Well, I mean, think about it. Even like when we were kids, like, you know, somebody hit 45, you were like, whoa, dude, take it easy. Don't work so hard. And it's like, no, actually, that's when you should be working harder. Your bones are getting weaker. Your heart's getting weaker. Your lungs are getting weaker. You got to push that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, which is why now we got fucking 60-year-olds. They could probably kick all three of our asses. But
exactly. No, but anyway, this is what I wanted to cap off, like, that part of the conversation with, like, so I was listening to him, whatever, and I was running, and like I had this motivation because he has this thing of like, well, you've heard him speak, so like he has this thing of like the way he gets you motivated to like do shit or whatever, and then he touched on like with me, bro, like he started talking about, he has this whole chapter on excuses. On like how we make excuses for everything so that we don't have to do it. Oh, I don't have time. I have kids. I don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have money, so on and so forth. Like if you really wanted to do it. Oh, and then this is where it hit me. And then he said, there's people that say I can't do it because I'm fat. I'm way too fat to like run. Right. And then they said, when you don't have the fat people, you have the crippled people. He's like, oh, it's because I'm crippled. He's like, no, you gotta fight. He said, you're not crippled. You just do things differently. You gotta figure out how to do things in the way that work for you. Because just because it works for you, it doesn't mean that it's gonna work for somebody else. But it will work for you. So that was one of the things that resonated with me. I could go on for another fucking hour, but. Because the fucking audiobook is literally 13 hours long.
Well, for anybody that doesn't have access to the book, there's that interview he did with Rogan where he was talking about, bro, but he was talking about the whole excuses thing and like the shit that he was going through himself when he was in the Navy and looking to go. The reason he went to, if I remember correctly, the reason he went to the SEAL program was like, fuck it, it's either going to kill me or I'm going to come out fucking harder.
Yeah, that's what he said.
So
3 times, man. He set the world record.
Dude, that whole shit about him fucking basically busting his fucking, I forget which bone it was in his leg, but he cracked the motherfucker in half and then just duct taped the son of a bitch and kept running on it. It's like, get the fuck out of here.
That's hard, bro.
Yeah. Dude. No, he had me at like, I was pissing blood, but I kept running. Yeah, I was like, no, I don't, because I don't think you can just, I mean, you can, but it's not that easy to just fucking replace organs if they completely fail on you. So but yeah, man, even if you're not a reader, and I found out part of my whole point and moral of this whole fucking point that I brought up is that like I'm not into books. I don't like to read. I don't have the patience to sit down and read anything. Like I'll read an article, but normally an article is like 3-4 pages long. I can do that, but a book I can't. I've tried. So, but this audio thing, you can take it anywhere. You can listen to it. Yeah. It was a great motivational speech while I was at the gym. I've only had this book for and I got it for free too. I've only had this book for about a day and a half and I'm almost done with it. So, I mean, it's a really good read. If y'all have a chance to pick it up, I think they even have it on special right now. It's normally $18 and it's like down to $11.99 right now. So y'all can get it on Audible. Hint, Audible sponsorship. But
give us your money.
But yeah, man, it's a really good read. I wanna, when I'm done with it, I got another one. I don't know if you heard of it. This one's a little bit more business oriented for entrepreneurs. And that's the reason that I got it. I had already heard about it before. I just hadn't gotten it because I knew that I wasn't gonna have the patience to sit down and read it. But it's Damon John's The Power of Broke. and it's his life journey of like how he started FUBU. So, but within the book, he also gives you a lot of practical, very valuable business points for startup companies. Because he literally started that company like selling t-shirts, literally hand to hand on street corners. He wasn't selling drugs. He created this shitty logo, stamped it on a t-shirt, and he was literally out on the street selling t-shirts. And then from t-shirts he went to caps, and from caps he went to sweaters, and so on and so forth. And FUBU was born.
I don't think it was FUBU, but I do remember hearing a story a long while back about one of the clothing companies where basically the guy knew a bunch of chicks that were doing knockoffs, like we were talking earlier, but like quality shit, you know what I mean? Yeah. Some new pair of jeans would come out, and she'd be like, fuck it, I can do that. She saw it, and he just goes, why don't you just do your own shit and sell it?
Yeah.
And like, but the conversation there devolves into the whole idea of like people are more willing to pay for a brand name than they are for, you know, even if it is quality product. But yeah, man, dude, this audiobooks are a great fucking. I mean, aside from the distraction factor, I love them on road trips, man. It's like you can blow through 6 hours like nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So and that's the reason as into why I love podcasts, not just our own, because I like sitting here and I like talking shit, and it's a great alternate to like working in radio, which is what I always wanted to do. But I then later found out that the FCC really fucking sucks. So anyway, that's a different conversation. But yeah, that's the other reason as to why I like podcasts, man, because I've learned to love like information. Now, I'm not saying that every podcast that you listen to is going to give you 100% accurate information, even if it's a health one, a workout one. But there's a lot of ones, like I listened to one in the morning. I always fucking forget the name of the doctor, but it's a strictly psychology one. And they study, this doctor is a professional in social human behavior. So it's basically why humans are assholes. Or why
you don't remember the name?
No, but I can look it up in a little bit. Yeah, but it's basically like why humans are assholes, why they're nice, why men interact with women the way they do, why women interact.
He's a sociologist.
Yeah, like shit like that. And he has like a fucking master's in psychology or some shit like that.
Sociology. If it's the interaction and stuff like that.
No, but he also works with the brain. Like he breaks it down from like the behavior in the brain.
Yeah.
And how that interacts with.
It's like sociology, though, like how that interacts with like the outside.
More and more, you're seeing psychologists.
And I think it's called the Psychology Podcast. I think that's what it's called.
New one
or Everyday Psychology, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that.
He sounds pretty Freudian, dude.
Who?
Like that guy you were talking about with the podcast.
Yeah.
Like there's a big train of thought with Freud's theory.
Oh yeah.
A lot of like how what is introspective can be outrospective. Like you deal with the stuff that you're dealing with, and that affects like the people outside in particular different ways depending on who you are and how like all these life events hit you.
Yeah. Now it was through that podcast because I did my research on this dude, and this dude really like sounds like he knows what he's talking about. He got his master's degree from Yale, I think. So that's where I legitimately found out that there's nothing wrong if you talk to yourself. And you can also actually answer yourself. And that also doesn't necessarily mean that there's something wrong with you.
Yeah,
because when I was a kid, well, not really a kid, but like again, when I was like a teenager, adolescent, like people, like they always used to tell me, like if you talk to yourself, it's fine. They used to tell me, don't talk to yourself because you're crazy. And then they got past that and they were like, no, well, if you talk to yourself, it's fine. It's when you answer yourself that you got a problem.
Well, okay, to clarify that, the actual the useful quote on that is if you answer yourself with information that you didn't have, that you think you didn't have. Like if it's revelatory, that's where you get like paranoid delusions of like, I don't know, the voices are telling me shit, and it's like
when you talk in third person.
No,
whoa,
I talk in third person.
I mean more in the case of like, all right, if you were to tell yourself something you didn't know, you got to, okay, where did I, not like in a sense of like, oh, I've, had a conclusive thought, but in the sense of like, there's information that like, that's possibly delusional, but most people don't fucking have that. But I agree with you, man. The answering portion is that's the important part. You're talking to yourself to try to get a fucking answer.
Yeah.
You're working through your problems.
Yeah. So through that, like he had an episode where like he explained, like a lot of people think that if you talk to yourself and then you answer yourself that there's something wrong with you, but that he was explaining again how the human brain works and why we do that. Now, he also said that there's humans that don't do that. There's humans that never talk to themselves or like, there is humans, but there is humans, and he was like, there's nothing wrong with either or.
There were actually a couple studies a while back that seemed to indicate that people who do talk to themselves or do, engage in that. Because what you're basically doing is structuring your own thought process like a conversation. You know what I mean?
But then again, there is people that talk to themselves, and you can clearly fucking see that they're off. Like like for example, there's I don't know if y'all ever been, because neither one of y'all's from here, but there's a store, a Stripes here in McAllen on McCall in Hackberry. And there's a guy there that always hangs out by the payphone.
What are you talking about?
You know the guy?
Yeah, he's
have you heard him?
No, I've heard him, but he goes to the VA.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I saw him at the VA today, actually.
So okay, in
your the VA is right there on McCall.
So in your opinion, is he off?
He's off, bro, but he's not like unfunctional. He's not dysfunctional,
Bro, well, the other day he scared the shit out of me. He started yelling for no fucking reason. I thought he was yelling at me. Yeah. I figured out that he wasn't yelling at me. Like, he was yelling across the street. Yeah. But there was nobody across the street.
But he's not dysfunctional, dude. He can still wipe his ass. He can still feed himself.
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying...
Like, he's not... There's part of him that's still there if he's still able to take care of himself in that way.
Yeah.
I think he's just got, like, problems,
Well, again, he believes he's receiving information that the rest of us have no access to.
Like, there's people that are schizophrenic that are like that, or have PTSD that are like that. They're perfectly functional. Like, if you go up and talk to them, they're able to have a conversation with you. It might even help them to have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
Like,
I had a friend that was a nurse. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure she's still a nurse. But she dealt with like I don't know, this fucking political correct climate.
Crazy people?
That shit, let's go with that. Like, people that were off. But these people were, like, clearly fucking, like, there was something wrong with them, right? So her job was to go to interview them and make sure that the assistance that they were receiving and the medication was still relevant, right? So they had to do a survey and so on and so forth. What made her job difficult is the fact that if the person denied, like you were saying, Leo, if they knowingly denied having, because people like that needed like a companion or a provider to speak for them, right? Because they couldn't, they couldn't like formulate or think for themselves, basically. But if they knowingly decided and be like, no, I don't want it, and they were of age, like the government or whoever's providing the assistance, they had to respect that because they were knowingly signing and saying, I don't want it or whatever. So she was like, it would make my job very difficult when I had to literally interview a crazy person.
But if it was a crazy person, because I'm bipolar, dude. So I've had moments where No,
these people were not bipolar.
But I'm telling you, I'm bipolar. I've had moments where I lapse, like, in reality. I don't know what's going on. I, like, get completely paranoid. I think I'm living in a different world than what I was used to,
Yeah.
And at that point, when you go to the psych ward, you are not responsible for yourself. So you can't sign that paper. So how are these people signing a paper if they're like completely out of it? If they're out of it, you know?
Well, because that's exactly what she was saying.
Yeah.
And that's what I asked her.
They don't ask you to sign stuff like that though. Like whatever it
Yeah,
is.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like he was functional enough to where
Yeah.
like he could sign, but she was like where things where the line would blur
Yeah.
was where like when they would sit down and she was literally like sitting across from
Even if you threaten to kill yourself and you're at a 1-to-1,
yeah.
like you can't sign like for yourself because you've proven to like not have good judgment.
Well, the thing is that with this person, they weren't
Yeah.
threatening to kill
No, but
him.
like I'm saying, like regardless, any which way that you landed yourself in a psych ward, you're not responsible.
This wasn't a psych ward.
You're not responsible for yourself, though. Well,
Yeah.
what
I
would this person
believe
do?
legally, if you submit it, like if you voluntarily
Yeah,
commit yourself in there, like it's what, like a 28-day period or something.
it's
that-
it's a 3-day period. It's on a 1-to-1 basis. Meaning
3?
that- yeah, it's a 3-day period, depending on what you admitted yourself for.
Now, is that for the voluntary? Because there's at a certain point where if you
Maybe.
don't voluntarily
Well,
withdraw yourself,
What's most common is people do that for suicide. Like they say, "Oh, I'm going to kill myself," and that's
Oh.
mandatory 3 to 5 day like observation 1-to-1, meaning that there's someone there always with you, watching you.
Now, something that I've always wondered, and maybe people are going to be like, really, that's what you're thinking about? But like people that do that, and then they got the 3 to 5 day or 3 to 7 day, whatever it is,
Yeah,
because they were going to kill themselves and they need that help.
yeah.
Like when you go in there and you're admitted for like 7 days or 5 days or whatever, like can you legally lose your job?
No, legally you cannot lose your job. It's like if you went. It's like if you broke your arm or something, and you like had
No,
to be
because I think like for example,
you're there at the hospital being admitted for an illness or a disease.
Mhm.
Same same thing would happen if you came in like with a really high fever, a broken bone.
what if you don't have the medical time to be out?
I don't think they can fire you while you're under
Yeah.
care. But once you're out,
Once
like
you're
here,
out, they'll find a way. Like I've had these like with my current employer. I was admitted twice, and I didn't have one time. I didn't have medical because I just had like a surgery on my knee.
Yeah.
But after that, they like told me they just gave me a leave without pay. So
Yeah.
they let me go. They just weren't going to pay me for the time.
Oh, I got
Yeah.
you. I got you. So anyway, like going back to like with this person, what I was gonna say was
Yeah.
that the thing that would trip her out the most and it would make her feel uncomfortable is that this person or this patient or whatever, they would like not only start talking to themselves, but they would start talking to somebody else here. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be like, shh, look, hold on, you need to let her finish talking and then we'll decide. Like, and then,
Yeah.
but like this person will legitimately engage in these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, and the other thing is, my assessment should take no longer than 20 minutes. Sometimes I was with this person for an hour because he wouldn't let me speak. And he would be like, oh, well, it's because you need to be respectful and let, whoever the fuck was here, speak or whatever. And those are the
Yeah.
things that
How did they let this person consent for themselves? Like that's a big issue with like
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we want to go into this, but like some of the information that she gave me is that for a lot of these people, they do it
yeah
or they let them consent or whatever because that's a way that they can take some of the, like for example, if they provide, it's not a provider, it's something else. There's a word for it. It's not a real provider because a real provider goes and cleans your house and helps you with shit like that. This is a person that comes to help a person basically, but not with housework for decision making. But it costs more money. So to them, it's not convenient to have every person with a companion or whatever the fuck it is that they're called, right? So she would tell me they figure out ways so they don't have to necessarily supply that other person for that person that needs it. And I would tell her, I was like, don't you think that's kind of, fucked up? That like this person actually needs somebody to make these decisions for them, but and that's something that I remember. I remember her telling me that because he knowingly signed a form saying that he didn't want somebody, like they had to, like, take his word for it or whatever.
Well, also, I think you have to go through a legal process to get somebody declared incompetent or incapable.
It's not that hard. You just go in,
but you have to go through the process.
There's no real process. Whenever you go get checked in to a psychiatric clinic, the initial check-in is like they'll like tell you, okay, this person is not capable of answering or being responsible for themselves. And when the check-in happens, usually there's someone else that had brought you in there. They'll talk to that person, and then they'll get right there like, okay, we're going to do this,
right? But if this person isn't submitting themselves, the only way to make them either a legal ward of somebody else is to go through the court process. Unless somebody takes them in, and
it's pretty much the same guidelines. If you see someone that's sick, you have to give them help no matter what happens. Like if someone's dying, you have to. You're a caregiver. You have to like be there, like to administer whatever you think is going to help them, like until you could get them responsive enough to start taking care of themselves.
Right. It's like an emergency room. You walk in, they have to treat you.
Yeah. And most of the cases they just hop you up on whatever drug they think is going to work until they could get you to be at least level enough to like not do anything that's going to be harmful to you.
So that was going to be my next question. You kind of like answered 70% of it right now, because that was the other thing that I was going to get into. And I don't know into like how much detail we want to get into, because I understand that none of us are professionals in here. But I was thinking about that earlier too. Again, going with the book that I was reading and everything. But like, I was thinking like people that have like real mental issues, like everything from not severe to the very severe, right? And I was thinking, like there's therapy, there's psychiatric, there's psychologist, there's counseling, there's all these programs and shit that you can see, right? But where I was going with it was like, I feel, and this is where I wanted y'all's opinion, like I feel that like when you do have a mental health issue, do you really think that shit is reversible?
No.
Depends what it is, not. Man. You mean reversible as in curable? Probably not.
No.
Like, well, okay.
Treatable.
Hold on.
Like manageable. Yeah, dude.
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, so like, let's say manageable. And let's not include, for the sake of the argument, and not argument, just discussion, let's not include like a bipolar disorder.
Why not, dude? That's like...
No, it is a mental issue, but there's somewhere that I want to get to with it. So like for now, like let's not, the reason I'm saying for now, let's not include that is because like with bipolar disorder, you can
got bipolar disorder?
No. But I've dealt with plenty of people with
who have bipolar disorder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Leo, correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I'm about to make a statement that could make me look like a fool. But with something like bipolar or borderline, it's in the excessive manic and heavy depressive states that delusional thought process becomes a possibility. But it's not. As opposed
it's not a constant, but you could spend like a good week or 2 weeks in a delusional like mental state,
But it's at the extremes, as opposed to something like schizophrenia, which kind of slowly is always present and has to be managed.
That's the difference between schizophrenia and bipolar.
So honestly, this is the only thing I was gonna say. Like, it could be treated, right? Like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. Like these two mental issues that I just brought up, they could be treated, right?
Yeah.
But
and not always.
Yeah, but for the sake of the example, let's say that you could to some extent treat them, but you can only treat them with medication, right?
No.
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 Okay. So go ahead.
There's there's different things that you can have. There's a broad spectrum of like personality disorders to psychological disorders.
Yeah.
Personality disorders are 100% curable. You just need to rewire the way you think.
Wait.
Okay,
Hold on. Time out. Can you? I'm sorry, because I don't want to miss something. Can you repeat that?
Personality disorders are some of the disorders that are like 100%
Curable. You can reverse that.
You could just need to rewire the way the person thinks, and this is where a lot of like Sigmund Freud's theories come from, with taking you back to childhood and seeing where in your development you developed this personality disorder.
So is it? And this is not. I'm not joking because it's
Yeah.
kind of a serious subject. So this is where something like ayahuasca would come into play.
I mean, kind of, dude. It depends on. I mean,
I
depends on
now
the person.
for the people watching and listening.
yeah.
I don't know if it's safe to say none of us have tried that.
Like, let's say,
but I'm just saying off of what I've read.
Like, there's like personality disorders are mainly common with like women. Not to sound sexist, but
Yeah.
women learn to cope with like things differently than with men do. Like men, like it's really prompted in us to like deal with it head on. Don't shy away from a bully or whatever. This stuff isn't really addressed with women. So the way they deal with stuff like this is they lash out to get attention. They do stuff to not get attention, whichever which way. So they'll bring that person into therapy sessions and basically rewire them to do something different when they feel that way, instead of like cries for attention, like death threats, or I'm gonna leave you, or oh, I'm pregnant when they're really not pregnant, stuff like that. So some people act crazy. They could not. It's a possibility they have like a really high personality disorder.
Yeah.
And not really a psychiatric disorder.
Well, okay, that's where I was kind of going with the whole thing about the borderline and bipolar.
Yeah.
Is that it's that middle ground of like the base state of being able to intake, emotional conversations and stuff like that, and as you said, like kind of rewire the way that you process information.
Yeah.
You gotta basically give them tools in the kit so that they can work through. Oh shit, I'm angry right now.
But that's you're saying that's what's curable, and basically, long story short.
I think we need to back off curable, man. Manageable was the right term.
Yeah, like manageable to the point where you can reverse these characteristics to the point where you're going to have minimal like resurgence of this,
Well, again,
because earlier you said it would be. Earlier you said it would be curable.
Yeah, they would be curable. Like there's stuff like dialectical behavioral therapy.
Yeah.
They introduced that to people with BPD, borderline personality disorder, and people with bipolar disorder, as a way to sense your feelings, gauge where you're at most of the time. Yeah. And with people with like borderline personality disorder, like they complete like 2 years of this kind of therapy, and they're pretty much like in a track where they're gonna have minimal resurgence of like an episode.
Yeah.
Right, but it's not like it's not there if they stop using the tools.
No, actually, they could stop coming. And it'll be
no. I mean, if they stop using the tools, as far as the linguistic tools, the
sort of like the way they described it is it basically takes them through like a mental maturity. Because when you do this stuff that resembles BPD when you're a little kid and you don't know how to like correctly tell your parents or those around you what you want, what you need. And, like typically, most adults learn this shit once they like leave high school or once they've already like associated and assimilated like with people around them and stuff like that. So with people with BPD, they never reach that level of maturity. So most people stop like with episodes and stuff like that once they reach that level of maturity in their head where they're like, oh, well, this is kind of childish. Yeah. So most people never do.
Well, my understanding is with I'm not entirely too sure about the bipolar so much, but with the borderline personality, it's innate. What's the word? Innate tendency plus trauma or
something.
Let's say toxic social environment.
Something in their childhood or something in their developmental years led them to be unsafe, and they figured out ways to cope with unsafety and not very productive.
Right,
ways.
but without that tendency there, it would be
a trauma like
it'd be closer to a PTSD
Yeah.
than it would be.
yeah.
And dude, then you start piling PTSD on top of some of the
Yeah.
psychological disorders. You have major
Yeah.
issues. I was going to say, have you read anything on the high functioning autistics?
Yeah, a lot of stuff where it's they people are now using therapy and diet to really help.
I've heard
with,
about that.
Well, the dialectical stuff as well, man.
I've
Yeah.
heard
You have to
that
take that moment.
that there's been proof where through diet, like, and that's it, like through like a strict diet,
Yeah,
they've figured out how to regulate and even reverse some of the symptoms of like the autistic.
yeah,
And the other crazy one that threw me off for real was Tourette's. They can actually make Tourette's like diminish almost to like a complete status through like this like strict diet. And I know because I have a friend, I have a very, very personal friend that I'm not going to mention their name because I don't know if, I don't know if they want their business out there, but I have a very personal friend that I've known since childhood. They have a kid, and they were born with Tourette's, and the kid is now. They've had Tourette's, I think, since they were born, but they were diagnosed with it when they were like 3 or 4 years old, and then the kid now is, I think, 12 or 13, and the Tourette's has like almost diminished like completely. And now, like, and my friend said that they did that through like a strict diet
Yeah.
change.
Was this like full physical tics, the
Yeah,
twitches,
the
and
tics,
whole,
the
okay.
I
twitches.
actually think a lot of people like including with Tourette's and people with like maybe no like visible like like psychiatric illnesses would benefit from dialectical behavior therapy.
Do you,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
what I was before I read it,
Yeah.
before I read about it, I was always thinking like all these things and cures and the way that like science is advancing and everything. Like I was thinking,
Because I bet you more than likely when people come in to step in to associate a kid's diet to see if they could work, I'm pretty sure they're using a level of therapy along with that diet to regulate
yeah,
like the nuances and the new feelings that they're going to be feeling and all this other stuff.
I don't think it gets mentioned quite as often. I mean, depending on what you're listening to,
Yeah.
there's a lot of the stuff I consume, they go over this heavily. But the idea of if you give somebody a tool like that, like here, you can control your diet and see results.
Yeah.
It's not just the results that they're getting from those actions, but it is the agency that is given to them
Yeah,
through having those tools at their disposal.
gotcha. Yeah.
It's it's like listen, if somebody takes up martial arts or something like that, or dancing, whatever it is, if they can discipline themselves and focus on that and claim the ownership and the agency of it, it gives them a stake in their own well-being.
Yeah.
Which, as you pointed out, man, most people could fucking use that shit. I mean, that seems to be the problem we're having right now.
Yeah,
is that a lot of people have no fucking agency and they have no ownership.
There's also not a lot of tolerance towards like other people.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
yeah.
I've spoken on here before, man. I used to be a very violent and like not aggressive necessarily. I wouldn't like.
Well, you still are, but
I'm still aggressive, but like
I'm kidding.
You've never seen me fucking attack anybody.
I hardly ever see you raise your voice.
Yeah, but
yeah.
this is going where you're talking about, man. Is like years of fucking like banging your head against a brick wall. You finally go, oh, I should probably find a doorway.
Yeah, let's not go this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the reason I bring that up or whatever is because I was thinking like before. I mean, like I said, I've done some research and reading and shit like that. But I would ask myself like they're finding all these cures on like these different conditions and stuff like that. And when like I was like, I wonder if they're ever gonna find anything for like cerebral palsy. But like then when I started reading about the whole stem cell research, and they're thinking, I mean, nothing's proven yet, right? Other than those 25 people or whatever that now they basically were paralyzed, and now they have movement in their legs and whatnot. But now they're thinking that might be the answer to like the cure for cerebral palsy. Or
And as you pointed out before, man, it's if the neural tissue isn't being used, if you're not, like you were talking about, like the physical thing, it's like if you stop moving, you lose that ability.
Yeah.
Use it or lose it type of thing.
Yeah.
So that,
But-
along with the stem cell, would probably, I mean, just add that extra buffer of safety, I guess might be the term.
Yeah, exactly. But the reason for, now, without stem cell therapy or whatever, the reason being is because you, in short, without going into a sermon about it, like, the work that your brain's supposed to do automatically, it doesn't do it because it's not there. So, like, the working of your muscles and the regeneration of the cells in your muscles, that is non-existent. So, to like literally like flex your muscle and strengthen it, you have to do that manually. If not, that's why you have the use it or lose it. You on the other hand, because you have a full function of your brain, right? You can literally not work out for the rest of your life until you die. And yeah, you might be
You
out
lose
of
mobility and muscle mass, but you don't lose the innate ability.
exactly. I mean, you wouldn't,
Yeah.
but I would. I mean, that's basically the fucking the difference. And then we've had that conversation of like where just so that I could be normal like the rest of y'all, I would have to work literally like 10 and 20 times as hard just to be up to par. And that, I mean, because of the fact that I don't do it is the reason as to why I'm not up to par with like normal people or whatever. And, but if I did do, basically, if what I'm saying is, if I were to work out, literally, if I were to work out like David Goggins or Floyd Mayweather every day, like I could seem normal. You would not see my cerebral palsy, like not that it would be dormant, but you would barely notice that I have cerebral palsy.
Hey, man,
But,
there's I think there's something, like people talk about like the benefit they get out of yoga, and it's like, oh, I feel looser and all that shit. But there's also something to the idea that you're, like you said, you're manually going through the checklist. You know what I mean? With
Yeah.
something like yoga, and I think a lot of people get benefit from that because all of a sudden they're, it's like, wiggle your big toe type of shit, or not the big toe, the little toe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's the acquiring of that neural link.
The other thing that a lot of people don't know is that, like, for example, for a lot of it, and it's not with everybody that
There's free yoga classes on Wednesdays.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah,
They still doing the
Wednesdays.
Saturdays as well.
They do Saturday motivational sessions. It's all at the Love Center on the Cornerstone, Sugar, in Edinburgh. Shout out if anybody wants to
Oh,
go.
okay. I think the not the botanical gardens, someplace here in McAllen does it as well.
You know what I really want, dude, because it has a lot of health benefits,
What?
and I've only done it like 2 or 3 times in my life, but it was great. I want to go into a sauna again.
A sauna.
Fuck yeah, dude. The sauna has
Yeah.
great fucking benefits.
Do they not
I mean-
have one there at your gym?
Fuck no, I wish.
Just go to your
They have a fucking tanning booth, bro.
Go into your car.
Fuck
around,
you and your tan.
Step inside your car around 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I've done that before. No, you know what I do? You know what I
Freddy in the
do?
back seat with a towel on, just going,
You know what I do on Saturdays and Sundays? Because on Saturdays and Sundays I work out twice a day. So I work out in the morning real early when they open, and then I try to make it a habit to go to work out again between 12 and 2.
Yeah.
So then what I do, as soon as I get out of the gym, I go into the car, raise up all the windows, and I drive back or I drive wherever I'm going with everything off. and I immediately like continue sweating like crazy. I mean, I don't know how much that fucking helps, but yeah.
That's a few calories here and there.
Yeah. But anyway, the sauna, man. The sauna actually, I didn't even know that the sauna has great benefits for your heart, bro.
Yeah. Well, it's an if you look at it, it's like,
an antioxidant.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, anti-inflammatory.
And then it's also, and then when you step out of that sauna, your muscles feel so relaxed. And even though you just go in there and you sit down, but when you step out, like, you actually feel like you did some shit.
There's another sauna that you should look into, dude. It's a ultraviolet sauna.
That sounds like a tanning tape.
No, it doesn't mean to tan you.
You mean the infrared?
Infrared, there you go. Infrared sauna.
What's that?
They basically hit you with a heat lamp.
Yeah, they hit you with this fucking heat lamp. It's not like...
Oh, I don't want to.
No, dude, it's supposed to have like miraculous like benefits for your skin.
Yeah, just like how they tell you about acupuncture. Fuck that.
Acupuncture is pretty good for you.
No, I know, but
you know that whole trick about like rubbing right between your thumb and forefinger when you're nauseous.
Oh, I've heard about that.
Yeah, that's
never tried it.
Acupuncture.
It's it's the same principle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just
I never tried it.
Maneuvering your pressure points, and you should look into it, man. Like people, I think it's in the same like holistic realm as like fucking what's it called? Not acupuncture, chiropractic.
Oh. The reason I was saying is because like now
a sensory deprivation tank.
Yeah.
That'll benefit you too, bro.
And a handful of mushrooms.
Dude, no, man. I would say if you want to fucking trip balls.
No, I think I would panic.
Yeah, no.
Oh, no. I'm not saying in this I just mean in general, a handful of mushrooms.
No, I thought you meant in the fucking tank.
You just feel like you're born again, dude. Like if you just came out your mom, when you come out of that, man, like everything is new, and you're like, fucking.
They should totally do like one of those like the little squeeze entries, like picturing that scene out of Ace Ventura 2, where you're just like, as you come out of the tank, you must fight.
The reason that I say that is because it doesn't happen with everybody that has cerebral palsy, because to most of us it affects us differently or whatever, and it also affects different parts of your body differently. So what I'm saying is, like, for example, me, I don't have mobility of my individual toes. So like, for example, I can't move my toes individually. I have to like move my foot, and all five of them move, right? So the thing that fucks me there is that's part of the reason as into why I have fucked up balance. Because for the people that maybe don't know,
you can't make the micro adjustments.
Not just that, but for the people that may not know like basic anatomy, you use your toes for balance. I mean, part of, for balance or whatever. So when you don't have that, that's why you don't fucking have good balance or whatever.
And you can't pick your underwear up off the floor. That's fucked up.
Exactly. Pretty much.
Shout out to the monkey foots out there.
But yeah, man. So, and then that also impacts the way you walk. Like, for example, if there was, cause I'm pretty sure there's people out there, if there was people that had their toes missing completely.
Right.
They would walk very similar to me. Now, I'm not saying that they would walk exactly like me, but you'd probably think, hey, you motherfuckers got the same thing. So you'd be like, oh no, I just have missing toes. He's fucked up in the brain somewhere.
I don't remember where it was I was reading that, but there was some guy that was a runner that actually had lost his big toe for something, and they replaced it with his thumb because he needed it for the fucking the pace.
Stride. No, your fucking big toe is very necessary for fucking traction and grip, bro. If you don't have your big toe, you kind of, like, cause I know of a person that doesn't have their big toes on either one of the foot, And it's funny. I mean, it's funny for me that I know, but if you don't know, like, you just kind of be like, you would actually need to pay attention. But me, because I know, it always fucks with me. So like him, because he doesn't have both of his toes, he can stand up straight, but his equilibrium's off. So he's literally 24/7.
Was he born without the toes, or
No, he lost them.
he lost them? Oh, okay.
He's literally 24/7, always rocking. No, he's not literally fucking
Just kind of
like
swaying
this.
as he's
But
standing
you
there.
have to literally, if you stare at him and you don't know, you might either think that your vision is fucking with you, or you're like, is he moving or not? But yeah, he's moving because he needs to move so that he doesn't fall over. He can't like stand still.
Did you guys ever read that
Right.
book? I forgot who wrote it. It was a book
He
called.
gets mad because I tell him that if the earthquake coming anytime soon.
Here, hold this baby real quick.
No, there was this guy who wrote I think it might have been Rich Roll or one of them wrote this book called Born to Run. I knew it was.
Sounds familiar.
He was exploring like.
Sounds very famously familiar.
Yeah, it was a famous book.
It's a very famous book, but he was talking about how he basically visited all these like different people that ran, like people in tribes in Africa, people like here in the United States that do marathons or whatever, and he noticed that there was people in Africa that had no like toes or whatever, and they were some of the best runners, like some of the fastest, but good form and stuff like that. And basically, since they were born like that, they had this whole time to like develop like a running technique that worked for them, and it caused minimal injuries. It relied a lot more on like the balls of your feet than your toes, and
That's the other thing.
yeah,
And I mean, it's not something that I'm ever gonna do because I have enough fucking trouble like walking and shit. But another thing that I've learned through like doing research on health and what you were saying earlier, like proper form and working out, a lot of people, like a lot of grown people, they don't know how to run. Like there is a, I didn't know, like there is an actual right way of running.
there's
Right.
different techniques that you can use depending on what you want to do. Like
Yeah.
for like fast paced running, there's you wouldn't do necessarily the
And
same
like,
stuff.
but one like a general rule of thumb that I read
Yeah,
is like that to push, you should always use, especially like if you're running on gravel, you should use the balls of your feet. And you know how like some people to
Yeah.
push, they use technically their toes.
Mm.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
So technically, you're not supposed to.
I mean that's like it's
By the way, shout out to Runner's World. I got this from Runner's
it's
World.
true depending on what you want to do. Like if you're a cross country runner, you don't want to be doing that. Like you don't. It's a run that doesn't really take too much of your like. You're not really depending on like your traction or your stride. You're just more along trying to keep a very steady pace, and you don't want to overexert your body.
Yeah.
But for sprints, I mean it's like something.
But for sprints, you're also going to go a shorter distance.
Yeah. You're not gonna. You can't last. I don't know what the longest sprint. Like the person that sprint like the longest. I don't know how long he went.
Oh, fuck. You'd be badass if you could
Right.
It's not. It's impressive.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact number, but I mean, dude, that whole Born to Run thing, man. The ones that impressed the shit out of me were that group down in Mexico that were using like flat fucking slippers that were made out of like tire rubber,
Yeah.
and like they were, kind of like I've talked about the Converse, man. Like they were on the fucking ground, and they're doing like 200-300
It's
fucking
like
runs.
those shoes. Fuck whoever invented those fucking shoes, man. I've only worn them once.
Talking about the five toes or whatever.
Yeah. Fuck those shoes, bro. I wore them once to the gym.
What was the problem?
Fuck no, bro. First of all,
Yeah.
I kicked the weight. First of all. Second of all, when you run,
Yeah.
they don't grip like
You also have to be someone like you have
And-
to you have
and
to
back
gauge the
to-
equipment to like what you are. You know.
No, but it also goes back. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I'm probably the wrong person to judge those shoes
Yeah.
because again of my toe issue, my toes issue.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
meaning to say that, but in a nice way.
No, I
You
don't.
gotta-
I don't give a fuck.
you know what equipment you need. You know, like you know
Okay.
equipment like it doesn't make.
But
you,
the ones that I do wanna get because they have really good reviews, but they're too fucking expensive.
yeah.
Are the fat tires? The fat tire shoe?
Yeah.
They're supposed to be optimal for like ground running, and they're supposed to be optimal for like machine running. So like for ellipticals and shit like that.
Yeah.
But I was like I was telling you the other day, I also want to like I don't know if I should try the tactical boot first because the
No, dude.
I showed you
Yeah,
because
you
that
were-
tactical boot is actually to run,
Yeah.
but you can use it
Most tactical boots are
like to run and shit.
to run in.
So I wanted to try that also,
Yeah.
and I told Leo the reason I want to try it is
Are you gonna use this as your everyday running shoe?
yeah,
I wouldn't get a tactical boot
why not?
because you're gonna start having problems with fungus with the tactical boot if you're gonna run in that every day. You want something that's properly ventilated to run in every day.
No, but on the thing it said
It's
that
got
there-
like two little vent holes.
no, but it's on the ones that I was
Yeah.
looking at. It says that it's properly ventilated so your feet don't sweat.
I'm telling you, man. If you're gonna use that every day, you're gonna develop some sort of like foot shit.
Oh.
Don't. I would say get something that's ventilated. I would use the tactical boot if you're gonna go hiking, bro. Like that's a perfect hiking boot.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna go out
Well,
off of the gravel.
Here's why I wanted to get it.
Yeah.
Because I was looking for a comfortable shoe that I could run in,
Yeah.
but I need the ankle support.
Why don't you go to a what's it called? An orthopedist or an ortho whatever.
Yeah.
One of those people that looks at your feet and get fitted to see what shoe you should wear.
You could also just wrap your ankle.
Does that really work though?
Wrapping your ankle.
Because that's what I need, bro. Since I'm running
Yeah.
longer distances, my ankles are starting to hurt.
Your ankles are starting to hurt. Maybe you should stretch them out before and after.
I've
That's
tried
not
that.
necessarily good if you're going to be running.
If you're experiencing ankle strain, I'm thinking it's because like you're not used to moving that area. You're not used to moving it the way you're moving it now. So I'm thinking if you stretch it out,
Like they still hurt now.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're probably damaging it. You're not used to like doing this much on it at the way you're doing it. Maybe you need to figure out a new way to do it, or maybe you just need to see if it's muscle strain, man.
No, but it's bone.
It's bone.
pain.
I don't know.
I can tell the difference between muscle and bone.
That might be something to do with the
It's
way
your
you're
tendons,
striking.
dude. Yeah, that might be your tendons around your bone feeling like they're getting pulled.
So then, what's the fix?
Stretching. Go to go to the foot doctor. Tell them what you're experiencing.
So if I get ankle support, it's not gonna.
It could work, but I would recommend just go talk to your doctor.
It might have more to do with the flat of your shoe than the ankle sport.
When I went to the Navy, I went to go see a foot doctor. Everyone goes to see a foot doctor to get their shoes spec'd out,
Yeah.
and he's the one that told me that I have one flat foot.
Oh,
One
you
regular
were
foot.
telling me that you have one.
Yeah,
I not see, and I have 2 flat feet. I have flat.
yeah.
And it sucks because I gave my daughter flat feet.
No, flat feet isn't suck now, dude.
What do you mean it doesn't suck?
They make shoes for flat feet now. You know they didn't used to make shoes.
Fuck! I was about to say, show me one.
Yeah. No, but they make in fact, bro, New Balance makes shoes for every foot possible, bro.
Stop trying to sell us on New Balance, guys.
Even weirdo
Under
feet.
Armour does too.
Huh? I actually went to go visit the Under Armour headquarters in Baltimore. That shit
Oh,
was
that's
pretty tight.
fucking right. They're in
Pretty
Baltimore,
Pretty
bro.
tight, bro. Yeah. I got
Hey,
it.
bro, y'all should have gone to go see the Ravens, bro.
Nah, fuck the Ravens, dude. They were playing the Packers when we left. I want to go see the Orioles. I saw the Orioles against the Astros twice, dude.
Why?
The first time, it was part of like the reason why we were there. It was for work, but we went and we had like a thing at work going on at the game during the time that game happened, which is cool because that's when the Orioles hit their their record-breaking game.
Right.
And then you had like 7 or 9 home runs. It was like 23 to like 7.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good game. And then the second game was a better game, dude, because it was more. There was more offense and defense. It wasn't just like the Astros raping the fucking Orioles. So it was a pretty good game, but both of them were free.
I don't know. I might pay more for one of those shows. It's like, get them. Yeah.
But yeah, man, they're actually Under Armour. Like if you pass by their offices, dude, they have all these other shoes that aren't Under Armour.
Yeah, because they have, what are they called? They have affiliate contracts, too.
I don't know how the affiliate works, but they're basically pulling apart the competitors' technology and, like, inspecting that. And, in fact, like, I guess trying to put together different silhouettes based on, like, the soles that they have with different competitors. Yeah. I saw them messing with the foam, with what's it called? The Air Mat, like the... What's the Air Max version for Adidas? It was like the foam, whatever. It's got that foam cushion.
I think I know.
The Boost.
Yeah, the Boost.
They have a lot of shoes coming out, or a lot of shoes that they were fabricating with the Boost on it. That was like a silhouette that Under Armour fucks with, and it was pretty cool.
I mean, you were talking about like the whole foot fungus thing earlier, which is a big problem if you're doing any kind of regular. I mean, shit, even if you're wearing shoes on a regular basis, air them motherfuckers out. Get some good socks. But have y'all looked into anything about the antimicrobial fibers? Like
on socks?
Yeah, you're starting to be able to find it in underwear and socks and shit like that.
Actually, White Sox had this shit before any of this stuff
became... You mean the team?
Huh? No. Like white tube socks. The white tube socks.
Wait, hold on, because I'm gonna get lost in this conversation. Can you either you or you repeat what
antifungal microbials?
What's that?
Basically, fibers in socks and in underwear. They keep your perspiration like from actually affecting your skin, thus like lessening the chances of you getting a fungus disease on your more sweaty like private areas and in your feet.
Oh.
Yeah, dude. No, but it works like tidy whities.
So they have like, do they have this now, or are we waiting for it?
They've had this since like the invention of tube socks, athletic tube socks.
So where do we find this?
You could find them anywhere, bro. Basically anything that has white tube socks, white tidy whities have it because of the diet, because of the white fibers. Like they use,
but like, only tube socks have it, because I'm not.
You could get the ankle socks too, but mainly don't fuck with the black socks or any of those colored socks that are like heavy and thick for like athletic wear, because those tend to like restrain most of that moisture to your feet. They don't freshen it up like the way these white fibers do.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying now, but I'm going to need you to show me an example at some point.
And if I understand, some of these things they're actually putting not just the fabric material in there. There are other fibers that are woven in with the fabric that are that have antimicrobial, antifungal properties.
And of course, these are like $10 more expensive, right?
Actually, this was like no, they're not that much expensive. This was a big thing in I forgot which war that they were starting to pull these out, because people they weren't changing out their boots like they would have to, like they didn't really have time to take care of their feet. So the Army, the Navy, the Marines, all these people started forcing the troops to wear these antifungal microbial socks.
There was I don't remember off the top of my head where it was, but I was reading some account of the Spanish-American War, and they were talking about the invasion of Cuba, and basically these motherfuckers were having to wear their boots for like weeks at a time. So these guys were dunking their feet into like Vaseline and just like sealing the foot into the boot in some attempt to not get trench foot and, you know,
Yeah, man, that
have
shit.
their skin eaten off.
That shit sucks, dude. Like having like athlete's foot, or having like an elevated form of athlete's foot, dude. That shit just fucking is murder, dude. Like you're not even comfortable like without your fucking socks on. You're not comfortable with anything. You know, your feet burn, they itch, they start like flaking and
Can
cutting
that be
apart.
cured?
Yeah, it's curable, but it's just a bitch to do, dude, because you have to like constantly make sure your feet aren't absorbing any moisture. You have to keep your feet dry, basically.
Yeah. You never had athlete's foot?
Uh,
A little itching between the toes?
When it
Well,
gets
I had
real bad,
itching.
when it gets real bad, your feet start cracking.
Oh yeah, dude, I had it in high school. My feet were, I'd come home from school and like the whole tips of my shoes would just
Oh,
be
dude.
bloody.
Fuck, yeah, man, that shit sucks, dude.
so how would you fix it?
I ended up having to use like Tenactin and all that shit. Or not Tenactin, the other one.
I used Tenactin, Tough Actin Tenactin, but I used Tenactin.
Did that work?
I used an antifungal cream, and I just had to change my socks. And my socks, I had to buy another pair of boots, so I could have one pair of boots to sweat out a day, and then give the other pair of boots a break. You know, and basically I had to just change out my socks like maybe two or three times a day.
Fucking
Yeah,
shit.
dude. When I would take showers, I would have to make sure to bag up my feet, and then like give them their own little like special wash whenever like I was away from the showers, because like I was using showers that everybody else used.
Yeah. Dude, look, man, don't be wrong. The Japanese are a little bit weird, but that whole practice of like continually washing the shower afterwards is something I really think we should implement into like high school athletic programs. Like, first of all, I remember being in football. None of them stanky motherfuckers ever used the showers. Like, I'm sure there was just fucking athlete's foot and crotch going on left and right. But, like,
You know what, dude? I'm lying. I did have athlete's foot.
you blocked it out of your memory.
And I actually, yeah, no, it's coming back. It's coming back to me now. I did have it, and I remember how I caught it. I got athlete, but I didn't know that that's what it was. I think I caught it the first time I went to jail.
That's another thing that happens on a regular basis, man.
People go to jail. Yeah.
No, the athlete's foot, staph infections, shit like that, man.
Yeah,
But I don't remember how I fixed it.
yeah. That's not something that's something you need to address, or else it's just going to continue to get worse and worse.
You can fix it in a certain way. You can actually fix it through diet, man. Anybody out there that's got a problem with some kind of fungal disease, cut the sugar the fuck out of your diet, first of all. You're just feeding that shit. But yeah, like you were saying, change your socks on a regular basis. Keep your feet dry. Don't be walking around on nasty floors.
Yeah.
Shit, man, I got a fucking case of athlete's foot I was crashing with a buddy of mine for a while, and we were a couple potheads, and his floor was disgusting, and yeah, man. Spent a couple months trying to get rid of that shit after I took off. It's vicious. And heaven help you if it gets to your armpits. I've seen that shit.
I've seen people have it in their hands, dude.
Mm.
That shit's gross, bro. I had like actually a form of that, not like a fungal infection, but I was working in like the Mesdex
I'm
for like
looking
the
at my
coats.
hands and shit.
No, but I had like severe like water, like you know how when your skin gets pruny
Yeah.
when you've like wet it too long. I had severe case of that where my fingerprints and my fingers were like not there. Like my fingers were like constantly like being
Nice. You could commit all the crime in
It
the
sucked,
world.
dude.
and
I
you
couldn't even touch like myself, dude. It would hurt because like my fingers were getting like these things were peeling off, dude. Like all the skin was peeling off, and I would have like very sensitive, like meaty, like fibers.
How'd you get it on your hand?
It was just from being constantly washing dishes, like never giving my hands a time to like just like dry up. I'd go from that, and then I'd be so sweaty, I'd be touching my sweat, and then I'd be touching other stuff with like these like pruny like wet hands that I picked up like a fungal disease or something like that on
Just
them.
makes your skin more porous. Anything that gets on there is going to get in quicker.
Yeah, and then when they're not like that, they dry up and they crack. So when you open them like that, they start to blister and like the skin starts coming off.
Whew.
Yeah, dude. Take care of your appendages, man. People get that. The doctor telling me people get that in in cases of like frostbite when they're working out in the snow and shit, and their skin starts to get so dry, like because of like the snow, that it starts to crack and like dry out.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, dude.
Take care of your appendages, people.
Yeah.
Shit. All right, we're coming up on an hour 51 right now, right?
Yeah.
All right, so how do we want to wrap this up? Athleticism, personal health, maybe a little bit more paranoia.
And run your ass off. You'll be fine.
You better run.
You'll be fine. And if you took anything away from this fucking episode,
You better return it.
if you took anything away from this episode, whenever your body or your mind feels like quitting, always remember that you have at least 30 to 40% more to give.
Imagine the person you hate most in the world is standing
Yes.
at the finish line, and
That
you need to go punch that
fucking-
motherfucker in the face.
That fucking helps so much. I've told y'all off camera, but I think I should say this.
Don't incriminate yourself.
No. I think I should say this on camera. I'm not gonna lie. This might make some people feel uncomfortable, but like part of my motivation in the gym, when I feel that I need to push myself more and that I feel that I can't continue, is I think of I think of like the things that have caused me pain previously, and that has helped me power through like a lot of when I start feeling the physical pain. Now I was hesitant to say this, but I think I can say like I found myself a couple of times where like the pain is a lot and it hurts a lot, and it's like, you know what, like I'll just stop here, even though I know I got one more mile to go or whatever the case may be. But then what I do and what has helped me like push through that is I literally do think of the pain of losing my mom. And then I remember that pain doesn't compare even close to that one. And then that pain in the gym just becomes nothing to me. So yeah, sometimes you do gotta go to those fucked up places and you use them to your advantage.
Well, you always hear that advice, like, with either relationship or work stuff, and it's like, oh, you going through some trouble? Hit the gym. And it's like, on the one hand, it distracts you from whatever's fucking with you. But on the other hand, it also gives you that, like, fucking motivation where there's it's like, it sounds wrong, but you're basically avoiding what the fuck you don't want to, you have like an incentive to like not stop and have a still moment. It's like, nope, got to keep the mind and the body working.
Yeah.
And, usually you come out of it a few pounds lighter with a little bit more muscle mass, and then you got to deal with your problems.
Yeah.
So, the holistic approach, as you pointed out earlier, Leo.
Oh, and when you do, I'm going to tell you, this is the last thing I'll say. When you do push through all of that, you get to a point where you get runner's high. Runner's high, y'all can Google this shit. Is it real shit that happens? runner's high is the most incredible thing in the world.
Very closely related to cannabinoids.
Yes. It is fucking, it is amazing. Like, I've said this before. If I could get the feeling that I get from runner's high from taking a pill, I would take that pill every day. So, yes. Well, and then once you get the runner's high, you get to like this mentality of like, I don't give a fuck. There's sometimes that I've gotten runner's high so bad that I think that at that point in time, if you were to come and tell me your house is on fire, I wouldn't give a fuck. I'd be like, alright, cool. I feel great. How you feel? You know, it makes you feel, it gives you this I don't give a fuck feeling, so, but in a good way though. Like in a really good way. You feel really good. I mean, eventually you come down when your adrenaline dries out or whatever. But I mean, it's fucking awesome. But you do have to hit a certain point for that to like go off in your brain. Cause it comes from your brain. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
Hey, heavy working out is a lot like heavy partying, man. You got to have the shit to refill afterwards. Take your supplements, drink your water.
Yep.
I mean, I've been trying to get my ass in. Freddy's been a little bit of a motivational help in this, but I've been trying to get my ass up and working out in the morning. And part of the problem is that whole, I don't
feel like it.
Well, no, not just that, man. But like, look, it's great to say work past the pain, but if you haven't built up to at least some sort of regular practice,
yeah,
very easy to just fuck yourself up.
It takes 30 days, man. The 30 days, your first 30 days are going to be the most horrible. Your first 2 weeks, you're going to hate yourself and you're going to hate the world.
Oh, I meant more like the fucking shit. Like I was telling you, man, about a couple months, almost a year back, I guess, man. I came in here for one of the podcasts with my fucking shoulders up around my damn ears because I'd gone out and gotten myself a pull-up bar and just went ridiculous on the damn thing. Couldn't fucking touch my damn toes for, just couldn't flex my arms in that direction in any general sense. But yeah, take care of yourself. Fucking YouTube, man. Like anything you want to do, there's probably 100 motherfuckers out there that are going to tell you how to do it wrong, and at least a handful of motherfuckers that will give you some great advice that will change the way that you actually perform your tasks.
Yeah, don't spend too much time on YouTube either.
Oh,
yeah, because then you forget to work out.
Yeah, you waste all that time looking up, how is the best way for me to do this? It's happened to me.
Yeah.
Like, what's the best way to wake up and run? And you don't end up running, you just end up looking it up.
Yeah, that has happened to me.
I will say
I
this.
I did that with the proper way, and I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
I YouTubed the proper way to do sit-ups. Yeah, and I ended up not doing that one.
Yeah.
Well, the trick is to do them while you're actually watching the video, man. Put your phone down somewhere and just listen, look at what they're doing and run through the fucking motions. Push-ups, man, were fucking great. YouTube was fucking great for that because you can, watch.
You could do them in front of someone, in front of, a gym, and then just pray that if you're doing it wrong, someone will come up and tap you and be like, hey, man, you're going to get hurt.
They don't.
You need to do it like this.
They don't.
I've had people come up to me and tap me like, "Hey man, you don't bench like that. You gotta there's no arch on your back."
Nobody's ever told me that.
Yeah.
Was it us that we were having that conversation about some of those motherfuckers that are doing the backup fucking shit? Jesus Christ, son,
It fucking hurts, dude.
I understand
but I've
that
seen
you're
professional bodybuilders do that.
Do that? That's it's not. It's hard. It's harsh on your body. It's the same thing with deadlifts, bro. There's a lot of people that fucking make the deadlift look good, but are they doing it right? Are they doing it with enough are they doing it well enough that their joints aren't affected by this deadlift?
Right.
No. It's.
And I also disagree. If you're deadlifting and blood is coming out of your nose,
don't hit yourself in the face with the weights.
No, that's what, regardless with anything. It's the same thing with David Goggins, bro. Yes, stay hard, but don't be dumb, dude.
Sure, my dick's bleeding, but what does that matter?
What is that? I'm only running.
I'm out here stealing souls. That's a great catchphrase, by the way. Stealing souls.
Alrighty, we're at the 2-hour mark.
We are. Freddy, give me your info.
You can find me across the board on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Freddy G.
You can find me at hatfieldstandup@gmail.com, as well as on Facebook and Twitter. You can listen to new episodes premiering every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at rgvtitanradio.com, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. You can listen to all audio podcasts at shoutengine.com/Bouncing Brains. Watch the video at YouTube under Bouncing Brains. We don't have that custom URL yet, so subscribe, yo. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, bouncingbrainspodcast@gmail.com, Bouncing Brains Podcast on Facebook, Bouncing Brains on Twitter and Instagram. And it's been fun, y'all. Thanks for coming.
Keep it tight.